Here we go, section 5, 6. This is on isosceles triangles, and it also has some equilateral triangles in there. So a couple things you got to know about these guys. Isosceles triangles. And we already know from section 4.1 that isosceles triangles have two sides that are the same. But now we're going to see some of the relationships that happen here. And that is, if two sides are congruent, then the base angles which are across from the congruent sides are also congruent. And vice versa. Vice versa means if you got two congruent base angles, then you know that the sides across from those angles are congruent. And I'm going to show you what I mean here. So here's our vertex angle up top. And these guys here are our base angles. They are congruent. It doesn't necessarily have to be angles on the bottom of your triangle. They just happen to be in this picture. But the base angles are the angles that are congruent. And across from the base angles are going to be your congruent sides. Okay? And across from your congruent sides are going to be your base angles. So it kind of goes both ways. If you got two congruent sides, you know the angles across from those sides are congruent. If you got two congruent angles, you know the sides across from those congruent angles are also congruent. Okay. And that is going to jump or lead us into our second triangle we're talking about today, which is an equilateral. And again, if you remember from section 4.1, you know an equilateral triangle has all three sides congruent. Boom, boom, boom. But remember what we just talked about here is if you got sides are congruent, the angles across from them are also equal. If all three sides are congruent, then all three angles are also going to be congruent because those are the angles across from each side. Now, you got 180 degrees in a triangle. If you got three equal triangles, you go 180 divided by 3, and you're going to get 60. And this is true for equilateral triangles, every single one. All angles are 60 degrees. Always. For equilateral triangles. Now you're going to use this information to solve problems. Sometimes you'll set up equations, sometimes you won't. Anyway, check out the next examples videos and we'll run through a few examples using this information together.